So for my English class, we had to do this thing called a profile essay, which is basically where you pick like an issue or a topic, and then you interview you interview an adult in your life on the topic, and then you use their information that they provide, and then yeah. So I did mine on school curriculum and pacing because I get bored of school because a lot of classes are either way too fast or way too slow. And it's like, I really think we should work on putting more student-paced curriculum into our schools, but there are issues and challenges that go along with that, which is what I'm going to go over in this. So let's get to it. I interviewed my science teacher, Miss Cox. You might be wondering, why did I choose her out of all my teachers, out of all the adults in my life? Well, she teaches chemistry, honors chemistry, physics, and in high school, she took classes like honors English, AP history, and AP environmental science. So she knows her way around. Because honors classes, our school honors classes are basically just faster paced. My friends who take chemistry, they learn the same stuff as me who takes honors chemistry. It's just faster paced for honors chemistry. Also, as she teaches and as she took classes in the past, she sees how people work at different paces. She's an educator. You're gonna need a little background information on all this. So I'm gonna tell you about that. We all know there's so many debates about school curriculum, right? We know there's been so many arguments about everything. There's people who argue that charter schools are the best, homeschooling is the best, public schooling, all this other arguments about teaching, and don't even get me into all that and whatever. Anyway, so student-paced learning has been around for ages, mostly more dominant with Montessori schools, which usually are with elementary schoolers, because you can't really do Montessori teaching with high schoolers because your high school classes affect college stuff. So, and if you don't know what Montessori schools are, where kids get to work at their own pace and teachers more guide the kids versus just like handing them a packet or like showing them notes like the average public school. If you want my opinion, I can post another video about it. Anyway, so basically the main debate is that there should be changes to curriculum in schools with more student-paced curriculum. It makes it so that educational needs are met for every single student because, like I said before, we all know this, people work at different paces. Some people work at really fast paces, that's why we have AP and honors classes. Some people work at slow paces, which is why we have, like, essentials math and such. The thing is, if we have these classes, it does make it better, but we can do another way to make it so that it is fully personalized per student. But, like I said earlier, there are challenges to this. There are issues, which is something that she brought up in her things. So I'm going to read over her quotes. When I asked her her thoughts on implementing more student-paced curriculum, she had a pretty positive opinion about it, but she also acknowledged that there's a lot of challenges to it. And the exact quote, she said, "I think student-paced curriculum would be ideal for students, but I think it would be very impractical in terms of class sizes that we currently have at the high school level." Which is why, as I said previously, my nose is running, excuse me. Which is why, as I said earlier, schools like Montessori schools only apply to elementary schoolers because it is easier to implement things like that. Because elementary schoolers, you kind of just learn, right? You don't get credits for your classes, you just learn. And then I asked her opinion on Montessori schools. And she said that they're able to do that as a result of their small class sizes. As an educator, the pay is probably a lot less and the benefits are worse than teaching at a big public school like our high school. And then when I asked her one of the biggest challenges of doing something like this, she said access to students who are absent, which if you go to my school, you know we have pretty, not super duper bad, but a pretty big issue of absence and tardiness and just attendance in general, because a lot of kids skip and a lot of kids have sports, which gets in the way, and a lot of kids have other things. So I think that is very true, because a lot of kids also, if they're missing class, they're probably not going to want to go back and learn and go outside of class, because that means they're probably doing extracurriculars or they're skipping, which means they're not going to do that. And she said, it's limited to the students coming and finding me during break, lunch, after school, before school, versus the class time when there's so many individual needs to be met. Oh yeah, this is Jason and this is Olsan. They're having fun in the background. Anyway, so using statistics, like I said earlier, this would be a bigger issue at my high school versus other high schools that have better attendance, and maybe if it was like a private school where students are more inclined to learn. Now, I'm going to give you some more background information. Sorry that I keep on looking down. I have my phone with my entire essay here and I'm trying to summarize it. There's a whole entire quote I can read to you from the article publishers, The Guardian. I've used them for sources a couple times. They're kind of medium level trustworthy in my opinion, but I'm just going to summarize what they said instead of reading the entire quote because that's kind of cheesy. So basically, the benefits and damages mostly depend on the learner's ability to use self-control and be focused on their academics. It really depends on the students, because if a student doesn't want to learn, they're not going to learn, right? But if a student does want to learn and they're given student-paced work and they can just do whatever, then they're going to learn. And if they were given the ability to just do it at their own pace, they would say, oh, this is my pace, but then they're not really trying. But the thing is, the benefits are very high too. There are risks with doing student-paced curriculum, but there are wonderful benefits. Like this quote from a blog from the Digital Learning Institute. They said, approximately 25 to 40% of students in the United States suffer from test anxiety, and in some cases, this anxiety does not end upon graduation and could affect them into their professional lives, which is not good. You don't want to have crazy anxiety when you're at the job, because then that's going to make you do a worse job, right? And I know that a lot of the students I talk to have pretty bad test anxiety. Like when AP season comes up or finals, everyone's freaking the freak out. Okay, like even for the weekly quizzes that we have in like chemistry, I see some kids that I'm friends with and they're freaking out over a like 10-point quiz. Me personally, I don't really get test anxiety, but I'm like, damn, these students are freaking out because they feel unprepared for these tests. Also, a lot of risks. One of the bigger cons is that most students can't do collaborative work, which at my school is very big. We do a lot of collaborative work, like the talking circles that we do in English, or like group projects, or anything that you just do work with more than one person. We do that a lot in class, and that's important for students to socialize and engage with other students. And that's really important because, like, humans are social creatures. We need to talk to people. Because if you don't socialize, you're gonna be depressed or something. Socialize. Don't be going, socialize with the world. Socialize. Don't be going. Now, I'm gonna go over just pros and cons. No quotes. Skip all that stuff. Skip the research. We're going purely pros and cons, okay? So strap in. Strap in, buddy. Some of the pros are that it lessens slower-paced learners getting behind peers, because I see students in class that are behind, and teachers are just like, okay, let's just go ahead, and then that student just ends up being behind, and that's not beneficial to the student, is it? No, it's not. I didn't even get to finish this sentence. Jeez Louise. Faster-paced learners from being held back. Some of the other pros are that it improves time management, as students no longer have a teacher to tell them how much time they have to do. For example, when students go out into the real world, they don't have good time management skills because they're used to being told, oh, do this today, do this tomorrow. Oh, you have 2 days to do this. No, when they go into the real world, it's get this done. And they're like, and that way they have to like learn how to manage their own time and work, which is really useful tool. Let me go over some of the cons. One is that the lack of structure, which can be seen as a pro or a con, okay? But mostly a con. As students lose structure, it can be helpful to some students, but it can also be harmful to most learners who do not have strong organizational skills. My conclusion! At the end of the day, there is no right way to teach, and there's no right way to learn. But, like I showed you guys, studies and people's opinions can sway in different directions. So, I hope I informed you enough about this, and I will be posting this on YouTube. Go follow me, YouTube and TikTok. Jason, Sultan. Oh yeah, my Funko Pops, and my body lotions, and my hand sanitizers. We have Bluey and Bingo and Bingo and Bingo and Bluey. But, shirt, meow. Anyway, have a great day. If you're not having a great day, then watch some more of my videos, and hopefully that will make you have a better day. And if that doesn't, then text me, and I will track you down and sneak over to your house and make you have an amazing, awesome, great day. Bye!